Are you okay, sir?
I don't know who I am.
24 hours earlier, this man controlled one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, he couldn't even remember his own name.
Mom, I think he needs help.
I saw pieces of something.
Maybe something familiar can help.
If he remembers his past, everything will change.
Why are you helping me?
You look like you're trying to solve a mystery.
That's me when I was little.
I am. What happens if he remembers? Then we lose everything.
Sir, can you hear me? The man jerked awake so violently that he nearly fell off the weathered park bench. His expensive charcoal suit was stained with dirt. His breathing came in short bursts. A sharp pain shot through his head as he looked at the woman standing over him. She held a grocery bag in one hand and the wrist of a curious little boy with the other. The boy tilted his head. "Mom, why is he crying?" The man touched his own face. His fingertips came away wet. His voice cracked. "Who am I?" The woman froze. "What did you say?" "I don't know who I am." For a long second, nobody moved. The boy looked from his mother back to the stranger. "Is he joking?" "I don't think he is," the woman whispered. The stranger searched every corner of his mind, but it felt like staring into a room with no lights. His name was gone. His home was gone. Every face around him was unfamiliar. Even the expensive watch hanging loosely from his wrist looked like it belonged to someone else. He stood too quickly. "I have to find something." "What?" "I don't know." He turned in circles, scanning the nearly empty park as if the answer might suddenly appear. Nothing. Not a single memory. If you've ever wondered what you'd do if you woke up with no memories at all, let us know in the comments before the story continues, because what happened next would test everything this man believed, even if he couldn't remember believing it. The woman stepped closer. "My name is Lena Brooks." He stared blankly. "My son is Noah." The boy gave a small wave. "You don't remember your name?" He shook his head. "My address." Another shake. "My family." Nothing. Lena looked into his frightened eyes. Whatever had happened to him, the fear wasn't fake. "You need a hospital." He looked down at his empty hands. "I don't even know if I can pay." "We'll figure that out." She reached into her grocery bag and handed him a bottle of water. He drank it like someone who had crossed a desert. "I'm hungry," he admitted quietly. "When was the last time you ate?" "I don't know that either." Noah tugged on his mother's sleeve. "Mom, he looks scared." "I know. Can we help him?" Lena hesitated. Bills were already piling up at home. Her landlord had given her one final warning. She barely had enough groceries for herself and Noah until payday. Yet she couldn't walk away. "Come with us," she said. "You don't even know me." "Neither do you." The words landed harder than either of them expected. Across Stonehaven City, panic was spreading inside the headquarters of Crosswell Global Industries. Dozens of executives crowded around a polished conference table. His phone still isn't responding. No security footage after midnight. The board is demanding answers. What do we tell shareholders? Victor Sloan sat silently at the head of the room. Unlike everyone else, he wasn't sweating. "We wait." One executive stared at him. "Wait, Adrian Crosswell has disappeared." Victor folded his hands. "And until we know why, nobody speaks to the media." "What if he's been kidnapped?" Victor's expression never changed. "Then making noise won't help." No one noticed the tiny smile that disappeared almost as quickly as it came. Back across town, Lena unlocked the door to her tiny apartment. The stranger stopped in the doorway. The apartment wasn't impressive. Old furniture, a patched sofa, a dining table with chipped corners. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. A stack of unpaid bills sat beside a loaf of bread. Yet something inside the apartment felt strangely warm. Noah grinned. "Welcome home." The stranger looked confused. "This isn't my home." "No," Noah laughed. "But you're here now." Lena walked into the kitchen. "I can make eggs and toast." "You shouldn't." "Why?" I don't want to be a burden. She smiled faintly. Then don't be one. Minutes later, the three sat around the small table. The stranger stared at the food before taking the first bite. His eyes widened. It's good. Noah giggled. It's just eggs. I know. The stranger couldn't explain why something so simple felt so overwhelming. He ate slowly, carefully, almost gratefully. Lena watched him. You really don't remember anything? He closed his eyes. I remember how to use a fork. She smiled. I guess that's something. I remember words. What else? Silence. My hands. She frowned. What about them? They don't look like they've done much work. He turned them over. Smooth palms. Short, perfectly trimmed nails. No scars. No calluses. What does that tell you? I don't know. He looked embarrassed. I don't even know what I know. Halfway through breakfast, Noah leaned across the table. Can I ask you something? I think so. What's your favorite color? I don't know. Favorite movie? I don't know. Favorite food? The stranger looked down at the eggs. Maybe this. Noah laughed so hard he nearly dropped his toast. Lena couldn't help smiling. Then Noah asked another question. Do you have kids? The smile vanished. His breathing slowed. His fingers tightened around the fork. I don't know. The room became quiet. I'm sorry, Noah whispered. It's okay. But it wasn't. The stranger had a feeling something precious had been taken from him. He just didn't know what. Later that morning, Lena insisted they report him missing. The local police station was crowded. An exhausted officer listened carefully before asking questions. Name? I don't know. Date of birth? I don't know. Address? I don't know. The officer sighed. Do you remember any phone numbers? Nothing. Any relatives? Nothing. The officer studied the stranger's expensive suit. These clothes aren't cheap. The stranger looked down. I suppose not. Were they yours? I don't know. Another officer quietly snapped a photograph. We'll run facial recognition. How long will that take? Hopefully not long. Hopefully. The word echoed in the stranger's head. Hopefully he had a family. Hopefully someone was looking for him. Hopefully he wasn't a bad man. That last thought surprised him. He turned toward Lena. What if nobody comes? She answered without hesitation. Then we'll figure out tomorrow when tomorrow gets here. As they walked back through the neighborhood, an elderly man struggled to lift a heavy flower pot outside his small house. Without thinking, the stranger hurried over. Let me help. The old man smiled. Thank you. Together they lifted it into place. You've got strong shoulders, the old man said. The stranger frowned. Maybe. What's your job? I wish I knew. The old man chuckled. Well, whatever you used to do, today you helped an old man. That's good enough for me. The stranger smiled. For some reason, hearing those words felt important. Not because they praised him, because they felt true. For the first time since waking up, he experienced something stronger than fear. Purpose. Tiny, fragile, but real. At that exact moment, a detective inside the police station stared at the facial recognition screen. His eyes widened. No way. He leaned closer. The computer displayed a perfect match. A photograph of one of the richest men in America filled the monitor. The detective grabbed the phone. You need to call the chief right now. What happened? I think we just found our missing billionaire. Before another word could be spoken, the office lights suddenly flickered. The entire computer system went black. Every file disappeared from the screen. And hundreds of miles away, someone smiled as the first phase of a carefully planned cover-up fell perfectly into place. The detective slammed his hand against the keyboard. Come on, come on. The monitor stayed black. Every file had vanished. Another officer rushed over. What happened? I had him. I swear I had him. You had who? The detective lowered his voice. Adrian Crosswell. The room fell silent. The billionaire? His face matched perfectly. Then where's the file? It's gone. Within minutes, technicians flooded the station, insisting it was only a system failure. But the detective couldn't shake the feeling that someone had erased the evidence at the exact second he found it. He didn't know one thing. Someone had been waiting for that moment. Across town, Victor Sloan ended a phone call and calmly slid his phone back into his pocket. "The delay bought us a few more hours," he muttered. His assistant looked nervous. "What if Mr. Crosswell is found before tonight?" Victor smiled faintly. "Then we'll adapt." "And if he remembers everything?" Victor's smile disappeared. "Then all of us have a very serious problem." He walked into Adrian's private office. The walls were lined with awards, business magazines, photographs with presidents, world leaders, captains of industry. Victor looked around the room. "For 20 years, he whispered, you built this empire." He gently rested a hand on Adrian's leather chair. "And today, it's finally quiet." Completely unaware of the storm surrounding him, Adrian walked beside Lena and Noah through their neighborhood. Children raced bicycles down cracked sidewalks. An elderly woman swept her front steps. Two mechanics argued over an engine before bursting into laughter. Everything felt ordinary. Yet every face seemed more alive than the strangers he'd passed in the city's financial district earlier that morning. Noah pointed toward a small grocery store. "Mr. Gray." Adrian looked around. "Who's Mr. Gray?" "You." "Why? You don't remember your name." "So, your hair's turning gray." Lena laughed. "It's actually not a bad nickname." Adrian smiled. "I've probably had worse." "You don't remember." "Good point." For the first time that day, the laughter felt effortless. Not forced. Not polite. Outside the grocery store, the owner struggled with a delivery of heavy boxes. Before anyone asked, Adrian stepped forward. "I'll carry those." The owner looked surprised. "You don't have to." "I know." He lifted one box. Then another. Then another. His movements were efficient, almost instinctive. "You've done this before," the owner said. Adrian frowned. "I don't think so." "You move like someone who's managed people." "What makes you think that?" "You keep organizing everything before you lift it." Adrian paused. He hadn't noticed. He naturally sorted the boxes by weight, created walking space, reduced unnecessary trips. No one had taught him in that moment. His body simply knew. The owner chuckled. "Whatever you used to do, you were good at solving problems." Adrian stared at the stacked boxes. "I wish I knew whether I solved the right ones." Hours passed. Every small act of kindness seemed to unlock a feeling, but never a memory. He helped an elderly widow replace a broken mailbox. He carried groceries for a father balancing a sleeping toddler. He fixed a loose gate that had been annoying a family for months. Each person thanked him. Each smile lingered in his mind longer than the last. Late that afternoon, Noah tugged his sleeve. "Can we play soccer?" "I don't know how." "Just try." "I'll embarrass myself." "So will I." 5 minutes later, Adrian accidentally kicked the ball straight into a trash bin. The neighborhood erupted with laughter. Noah doubled over. "You actually aimed for the goal." "I thought I did." "You missed by 20 feet. Adrian laughed so hard he had to catch his breath. The sound surprised him. It felt unfamiliar, almost as if the man he had been rarely laughed at all. Miles away, television stations interrupted their programming. "We have breaking news tonight. The search continues for billionaire businessman Adrian Crosswell. Authorities believe he disappeared sometime after leaving a private charity gala. There is currently no evidence of kidnapping. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward immediately." Every screen across Stonehaven displayed Adrian's smiling corporate portrait. Every screen, except one. The small television inside Lena's apartment had stopped working months ago. That evening, Lena prepared dinner. There wasn't much. Vegetables. One small piece of chicken. She quietly placed the chicken onto Noah's plate. "What about yours?" Adrian asked. "I'm not very hungry." Noah looked up. Mom always says that. Lena quickly changed the subject. So, Mr. Gray. I still don't know if I like that name. You'll survive. I suppose I have bigger problems. They laughed. Then Noah became serious. Can I ask another question? Adrian smiled cautiously. I've learned saying no doesn't stop you. Noah grinned. What do you think makes someone successful? Adrian expected an answer to appear. Nothing came. Finally he admitted, I honestly don't know. Lena stirred her tea. I think success is simple. How? When people feel safer because you're around. Adrian looked at her. No promotions? No. No money. It helps. No fancy house? She smiled. Would you rather cry in a mansion alone or laugh around this table? Adrian looked around the tiny apartment. Peeling wallpaper. Second-hand furniture. A flickering kitchen light. Then he looked at Noah laughing over spilled rice. And Lena smiling despite obvious exhaustion. I think I know my answer. She nodded. I hope whoever you were remembered that. The words stayed with him. Whoever you were. Not whoever you are. Later that night, Noah fell asleep on the couch while watching an old cartoon. Lena carried a blanket over and tucked him in. Adrian quietly walked into the kitchen for a glass of water. He stopped. Lena stood alone beside the sink. She picked up the last untouched portion of rice. She stared at it, then quietly scraped it back into the container. She drank a glass of water instead. Adrian frowned. You never ate. She jumped. I told you I wasn't hungry. You lied. A long silence followed. Finally she sighed. It's enough for Noah's lunch tomorrow. You should have eaten. So should a lot of people. He looked at the nearly empty refrigerator. I don't understand. I get paid Friday. What day is today? Tuesday. 3 more days. She smiled anyway. We'll be all right. He couldn't stop staring. The richest meal he'd seen all day had been served in the most expensive restaurant downtown while walking with Lena earlier. People left half their food untouched. A mother skipped dinner without complaining. Something twisted painfully inside him. Not in his head. In his heart. If this story is making you wonder what you would have done in Adrian's place, tell us in the comments. Would you have accepted Lena's help, or would pride have made you walk away? Your answer says more than you might think. Unable to sleep, Adrian stepped outside. The neighborhood was quiet. An elderly man sat alone on his porch. Can't sleep? The old man asked. No. Mind some company? Adrian sat beside him. The old man stared at the stars. You know, people spend their lives chasing things. What kind of things? Money. Power. Respect. Were they wrong? The old man smiled. They usually find what they're chasing. And? They're disappointed when it isn't enough. Adrian listened carefully. I feel like I've lost everything. Maybe. The old man nodded. But sometimes losing the map helps you discover where you actually wanted to go. Before Adrian could answer, several black SUVs quietly rolled into the neighborhood. Their headlights switched off. The vehicles stopped at the end of the street. Men in dark suits stepped out without saying a word. One of them unfolded a photograph. Another pointed toward Lena's apartment. Adrian watched from the porch, unaware that the photograph they were studying was his own face. And this time, they hadn't come to rescue him. The men in dark suits stood silently outside Lena's apartment building. Adrian watched from the shadows of the porch. Something about them felt wrong. They weren't moving like people searching for someone they cared about. They moved like people looking for something they wanted back. The old man beside him noticed too. Do you know those men? Adrian stared at them. I don't know. But deep inside, something reacted. A strange feeling. A warning. Like a memory trying to break through a locked door. One of the men looked directly toward the porch. Adrian stepped back. The moment their eyes met, a sudden flash exploded inside his mind. A glass office. A crowded boardroom. A voice shouting, Mr. Crosswell, you can't keep ignoring this. Then another voice. Colt. Everyone has a price. Adrian grabbed his head. The old man stood quickly. Are you okay? I saw something. What? I don't know. But for the first time since waking up, Adrian felt afraid of remembering. Inside Lena's apartment, Noah woke up. Mr. Gray. Adrian walked back inside quickly. Go back to sleep. Noah noticed his expression. What happened? Nothing. Noah frowned. You always say that when something is wrong. Adrian almost smiled. A child who had known him for less than a day could read him better than people who worked beside him for years. Before he could answer, there was a knock at the door. Lena froze. Nobody visited this late. The knocking came again. Harder. Mrs. Brooks. A man's voice came from outside. We need to speak with the man staying here. Adrian's heart started racing. Lena looked at him. Do you know them? He shook his head. But something inside him whispered that he did. The door opened. Standing outside were police officers. And behind them were reporters. Cameras. Microphones. Flashing lights. Adrian Crosswell? The name hit him like a wave. His breathing stopped. A reporter shouted, Mr. Crosswell, are you safe? Another pushed forward. Did you disappear intentionally? Lena stepped back. She looked at Adrian. The confused stranger from yesterday was suddenly the most powerful businessman in Stonehaven. Noah stared. You're famous? Adrian couldn't answer. An officer approached carefully. Sir, your family and company have been searching for you for almost 2 days. 2 days? Adrian looked around. The apartment. The people. The life he had accidentally discovered. I have a family? The officer hesitated. You have people waiting for you. Those words felt strange. Not comforting. Heavy. Because Adrian suddenly realized he wasn't sure if he wanted to go back. At the hospital, doctors ran tests. The results confirmed what everyone feared. A temporary memory loss caused by a neurological event. Dr. Miriam Hale sat across from him. Your memory may return gradually. When? We don't know. Days? Maybe. Weeks? Possibly. Adrian stared through the window. What if I remember everything? The doctor looked at him. Why does that scare you? He didn't answer. Because somewhere inside he already knew. The man he used to be might not be someone he wanted to meet. The first memory returned during the drive back to his mansion. A photograph on a billboard. His own face. A headline. Adrian Crosswell, the billionaire who changed modern business. The words triggered something. Suddenly, a room full of executives. A young employee standing nervously. Sir, if we close that factory, 300 families lose their income. Adrian's old voice answered. Numbers don't have feelings. The memory disappeared. Adrian looked away. His stomach tightened. Stop the car. The driver looked confused. Sir? Just stop. He stepped outside. For several seconds, he stood beside the road. He remembered. Not everything, but enough. The mansion gates opened slowly. The place was enormous. A private garden. A fountain. Multiple vehicles. Security guards. Everything he once owned. Yet when Adrian entered, the first thing he noticed was not the luxury. It was the silence. No laughter. No voices. No warmth. A house designed for one person. And somehow, that person looked lonely. A staff member approached. Welcome home, Mr. Crosswell. Adrian looked around. Has anyone been worried about me? The employee hesitated. Everyone was concerned. That wasn't my question. Silence. Finally, the employee lowered his eyes. Your executives were mostly concerned about the company. The answer hurt more than expected. In his office, Adrian opened his computer. Thousands of emails waited. Messages from employees. Complaints. Requests. Warnings. Things he never answered. He opened one from 6 months earlier. Mr. Crosswell, my department is struggling. We need support. Another. Sir, employees are afraid to speak honestly. Another. Your decisions are hurting people who built this company. Adrian closed his eyes. He remembered ignoring every message. Not because he hated people. Because somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing them. The office door opened. Victor Sloan entered. Relief crossed his face. Adrian. They shook hands. But Adrian noticed something. Victor's smile didn't reach his eyes. You disappeared without explanation. I know. We need to stabilize the company immediately. Adrian stared at him. You seem more worried about the company than me. Victor paused. Of course not. Really? A silence followed. Then Adrian asked, Who is Lena Brooks? Victor's expression changed. Only for a second. But Adrian noticed. You know her? No. The answer came too quickly. Adrian leaned forward. Why did you react like that? Victor smiled. I didn't. But Adrian remembered something. A conversation. A voice. Victor's voice. We can't let him find out what happened. Adrian stood up. What did you say? Victor's face changed. What? You said something. I didn't. Another memory hit. A document. A signature. A hidden account. A secret deal. Adrian grabbed the edge of his desk. Victor stepped closer. Are you okay? Adrian looked at him. For the first time in years. He didn't see an employee. He saw a threat. That night, Adrian ordered a complete investigation into his company. What they discovered shocked everyone. Millions had been moved through hidden accounts. Projects had been manipulated. Employees had been blamed for decisions they didn't make. Victor hadn't just protected Adrian's empire. He had been quietly controlling it, using Adrian's obsession with success as a shield. But one final discovery changed everything. A recording from the night Adrian disappeared. Victor's voice filled the speakers. Once he's gone, we can finally make the changes we need. A lawyer looked at Adrian. Sir? Adrian stared at the screen. What changes? The lawyer hesitated, then answered. The kind that would have destroyed everything you built. 3 months later, Stonehaven barely recognized Adrian Crosswell. The billionaire who once avoided cameras now sat with employees. He listened. He asked questions. He admitted mistakes. The company created programs nobody expected. Emergency support for workers. Education funds for employee families. Community investments. Not because it looked good. Because Adrian finally understood something. A business wasn't built from numbers. It was built from people. But the person who changed him most never wanted anything from him. Lena refused a mansion. She refused expensive gifts. She refused anything that made her feel like she owed him. I helped you because you were a person, she told him. Not because you were rich. Adrian smiled. That's exactly why I needed your help. Months later, he visited Lena and Noah. No cameras. No security. Just him. Noah looked at him. So, do you remember everything now? Adrian smiled. Almost. What about the day you met us? I remember enough. Noah thought for a moment. If you lost your memory again? He paused. Would you still find us? Adrian looked at the small apartment where everything had started. Then he looked at the people who had given him something no fortune ever could. A reason to care. I don't think I would need to find you. Why? Because you were never the thing I lost. Noah smiled. You were what I found. A year later, Adrian returned to the same park bench where he woke up. The city skyline stood behind him. The same buildings. The same streets. But he wasn't the same man. Before, he measured life by what he owned. Now, he measured it by who felt better because he existed. An elderly man waved from across the park. A child laughed nearby. 2 strangers helped each other carry groceries. Adrian watched quietly. The billionaire who once had everything had finally learned what wealth actually meant. And it only took losing his memory for one day to discover it. If this story reminded you that kindness can change someone's entire life, take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more emotional stories, and comment below, what is one thing you would never want to lose, even if you lost everything else? Because sometimes the greatest things we find are the things we never knew we were missing.